Black people are going back and forth with each other. I'm talking about the black men and black women, and it revolves around dating and also respect and also valuing each other. And there is a lot to learn from this video because I'm gonna go into a deep debate. Let's just check this out.
Black men, I'm gonna tell you right now, straight up, y'all finna lose the support of your black women. You keep putting out that toxic rhetoric. You keep calling everything but a woman. You keep weaponizing statistics and not contextualizing the information. You're gonna lose the support. Bro, listen, y'all lose the support of your own group of women, you ain't gonna have nothing.
I'm gonna say something, and a lot of people probably won't like it, and yeah, but I've always believed for a very long time that I don't think that most black men actually like black women. Like, I really don't. I am a fairer skinned black woman. First of all, I feel like most black men don't like dark-skinned black women. I think they prefer fairer skinned black women, but very specifically, they like fairer skinned black women that look ambiguous in terms of where they are from. Like, fairer skinned black woman but with 4C hair, no, that's too black. Like, most black men, if you ask them and they have the choice, will not date anybody that looks like their dark-skinned black mom. They have a black mom. And that is what we're seeing the reflection of in podcasts. That's what we're seeing the reflection of in the lack of advocacy for black women. Because when it's time for black women to go hard for black men, we go hard. But when it's time for black men to come hard for us with like healthcare and the way that we're often treated and everything, they don't do it. When they start to earn seriously big money, do they date us? Most of the time, no. When they need to get that leg up and they feel like they want a woman on their arm to get to the next level, do they choose black women? And most of the time, no, they do not. And I'm speaking as someone who has worked for over a decade in the luxury retail space. When a lot of black men start to do well, they feel like they need to have someone different on their arm. Yeah. It sucks. When a lot of black men are struggling and trying to be seen and trying to get their leg up, they will happily use a black woman, have a black woman on their side. But when it's time to eat, when it's time to enjoy, they will dump that black woman and date someone that looks very, very different from them. Now, someone falling in love with someone that is not their culture is cool. That's fine. If that's the reason, if the reason is love, that's fine. But if the reason is self-hatred and the fact that you hate your blackness and the fact that you feel like black women are less than other women, I think we need to talk. I think we should talk. Yeah.
This is for my black women and my black women only. Continue being you. Don't change for nobody. No race, no gender. Continue being you. Because at the end of the day, nobody's going to have our back. Nobody's going to protect us. Nobody is going to be there for us but us. I just watched a video of the man disrespecting those black women because they did not want him to touch them. And I didn't even get irritated with him because that's what they do. But the 3 black men that sat right there and did not stand up, did not say anything, did not protect those women at all, that's why we're so hard-bodied. That's why anytime some shit pop up, we always the first ones to say something because we know that we're not protected. They didn't say shit to protect them. They going back and forth with this man. You got 3 grown black men sitting right here not saying anything, not protecting us. That's why when y'all say, oh, we not our ancestors, I laugh. Because they was dying behind their people. They were dying behind their people. Y'all are some, oh my God, I'm so irritated. Y'all, man, whatever. Black women, be exactly what they think we are. I'm done. I'm so Sick of people playing with us, man.
Every time you see a black man tell you he don't like black women, and anytime the conversation they're talking about preference, and they don't even need to be about black women, and he randomly always brings up that he don't like black women, that's a black man that wishes he could be with a black woman. Fight your mom, and I really mean that. A lot of black men hate the fact that they're not good enough for black women. A lot of black men hate the fact that they're not good enough for black women. They go for all the other races because they feel like those races are going to give them leeway because of slavery, racism. They're always going to make excuses for their behavior and coddle them. Black women don't coddle. Black women do not coddle because the same that motherfucker went through, black women got it times 10. You know, and all this racism and everything that's been going on, you know who's never had anybody stand up for her and had to do it? Black women. Black men had black women fighting for them. Every time you see a black man that tells you he don't with black women, it's because he really likes black women, but he knows he's not qualified, he's not good enough, and he cannot live up to what a black woman deserves.
Based on the way black men talk about black women today, it seems as if black men were built to destroy the black woman. They'll destroy her love, they'll destroy her life, they'll destroy her image. Because they never gonna say anything positive, they never gonna uplift her, they never gonna treat her right. All they gonna do is scream at them, bash them, try to shame, and then try to label it as correction. No, it's not correction. You just became the palm-colored man. You're the one with the whip now, and you just want to shame the black woman. Okay? That's what you guys are doing. And then another thing is, you guys are okay with being a fetish. You're okay with fetishizing other races of women and being a fetish, and then want to try to flex on black women. Look, we the most desired man. For what? You're the most desired sexually, but you're okay with that because you're okay with being I can't say that word on here, as a man though.
So many black girls trying to figure out why black men don't like black women. I think I got an answer for you. I'm Ruquan, senior at Harvard, studying black history, and I grew up around black love, grew up in Washington, D.C., which is Chocolate City. So I felt and seen black love at every level, you know, in the hood, in the schools, you know, in office, in the businesses, on the street, whatever it is. And I come to Harvard and I experience something really different, where there's this war between black men and black women that's like the black women hate the black men, the black men, some of them stay away from the black women to get a white girl.
I recently did this video of a black woman who openly admitted, that she had different standards for black men than she did men outside of her race. Specifically, she went on to share that although she had a black man who treated her nice, was very kind to her, did all kind of different things, she just wasn't really feeling him. But when she got with a Latino man, she went just bend over backwards to do things for him. And it wasn't because he did anything particularly great, it's just because he wasn't black. And so she wanted to be like, man, like black women don't really like black men like that. And she was kind of joking about it. But the thing about it is, she said out loud what I believe a lot of ladies feel internally. I'm not saying everybody, but because I do believe there is still sometimes some internalized self-hatred that goes on, particularly in the Black American community, this is why I think there are times where that disrespect that we can see amongst each other permeates in the way it comes out in relationships, the way it comes out in families. And as a married black woman, I really feel like I'm starting to see more and more how much of culture and society does not create a healthy environment for just marriage and black love in particular to thrive. Because we already have a culture that really nurtures a lot of this self-hating ideas and rhetorics about, you know, black women, and then black women sometimes too. Also, it's like they can really internalize these self-hating ideas about their own men, and we don't say it, but it's just the little things, you know, wanting a lighter skinned baby, wanting a baby with good hair, going online and always associating like wealth and class and you know, position and all this stuff with like white men or non-black men, like just all this programming that's been going on for decades. And we bring all that stuff sometimes into relationships, into marriage. And I feel like I've literally seen black women treat their own men a particular way and then fast forward and then give other people of other races better behavior. And sometimes this is not even in romantic. Sometimes just like Black folks, we don't even know how to treat each other in business. Sometimes we treat, we work really hard when it comes to wanting to work for other people, wanting to work for white society, but comes to Black owned business, then we don't want to pay them right, or we don't want to support them, or we have all kind of negative things to say. Like, I just feel like even in general, sometimes Black folks just don't even treat each other that well. Like, we're so quick and fast to want to treat other people better and to want to trust other people more than we trust even who we are ourselves. And that definitely comes out not only in relationships, but it can come out in the way that, men and women interact in relationships. And so, when I saw the post that I did and I asked Black men, like, okay, are y'all seeing different standards, right? And then you had this Black woman come out who admitted I did a whole review on my YouTube, and she was just like, yeah, Black women don't really like Black men like that. And of course she was talking about herself. I'm not saying this to everybody, but I'm just saying, like, what she said out loud are things that some ladies, I think, really internalize. And the great news, I think, about having social media and having these platforms is that we can actually finally start to address things that have been hidden in the dark for quite some time, or things that people have maybe just trying to push under the rug. It's like, if there's still some internalized self-hatred going on, if there's some still like, white ice is colder mentality going on, that's going to impact the way you treat yourself, the way you treat, your own men and your own community. And then at a certain point too, like, if you're bringing negative energy, if you're bringing like super hyper masculine energy to Black men, but you're acting more feminine or more cordial to men of other races, then you can't look at Black men and be like, oh, well, all y'all are dusties, you don't treat me right, da 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 da. It's like you're not even giving them a fair shot. You're showing up as two different people, and that could actually impact the way you interact in dating and relationships and all that. But that's a whole other conversation. But yeah, that's just something that I noticed.
To the Black men that still come on TikTok and talk about how masculine Black women are, do you realize this also makes you look bad as a Black man? Do you realize this makes you look terrible as a Black man? Let me tell you why. When you come online as a man, right, as a Black man, and you talk about how masculine, Black women are, how unfeminine Black women are, the natural question that comes after that is why? Why? Why is this particular woman you're talking about so masculine? And typically, people are a reaction. They are a response to their environment. That's the truth. If a man grows up in a space where everything is done for him, he doesn't have to lift a finger, he has never had to work in his life, he has never had to look after himself, how do you think that man is going to turn out? He's not going to be a go-getter man. He's not going to be a man that's proactive. That's just how it is. A man that has been raised, coddled all his life. When he goes out into the real world, that man will most likely not be he won't be that ambitious. He won't be that driven because he was raised in an environment where everything was catered for. Same applies to Black women. If you consider a Black woman to be masculine, to the men that do this, if you consider Black women to be masculine, the question that people are going to ask you, and I'm going to ask you, is why do you think that woman is masculine? Oftentimes it's because that woman has had no choice but to carry responsibility by herself. That's the truth. So if you as a Black man, you are comparing Black women to white women, to Latino women, to Asian women, and whatever else, and fair, date who you want to date. I don't personally give a shit. But my point is, if you look at that woman who might be white, who might be Asian, who might be Hispanic, and you think she's feminine, the question you need to ask yourself is, why is that woman feminine? And I guarantee you, when you look into the life of that woman, you will see that she's had the men in her life do what they're supposed to do. Simple. But unfortunately for most Black women, especially in the West, a lot of Black men have not been able to do what they are supposed to do. A lot of Black men have not been able to do what they're supposed to do to enable the woman to rest in her femininity. Every woman has femininity. Every woman. There are Black women who are very, very feminine because the Black men in their life are doing what they're supposed to do. But my point is to the Black men that come online and then make all these 3-hour-long TikTok lives, 4-hour-long TikTok, sometimes the whole day. It makes you look bad because ultimately what you're saying is that the men in that community are not performing. That is why. Because that same woman you're considering masculine, if she was brought up in a different environment where everything was catered for, I guarantee you're going to have a different outcome. It's logical. So stop coming online and talking down on black women, talking about, oh my God, they're masculine, they're masculine. The question is why? Why are they masculine? And then most likely you're not going to like the answer.
I agree with this comment. The small percentage of black men, and it's a small percent, right, of the ones who were the red pills, the ones who were the passport bros, they really made a name for themselves across the globe. At one point, African Americans in the United States, we made a huge difference in the world. We still make a difference in the world, especially in music and fashion and our culture, living here in the United States. I think some of these black men messed it up. And when I say some of these black men, I'm talking about passport bros and incels and red pill, right? I'm talking about those because they decided that they were going to get passports and go across the globe to get women. Only their intentions were bad. It wasn't like they were saying, you know, I want a really good wife. I want someone that's compatible with me, someone that I can treat with respect and grow a life with them and have a family and be a family man. It was really lust, and it was really a power move that they were trying to make because they wanted to believe, because in their hearts, they were just trying to be in control of something. They were trying to control women. It wasn't like they really wanted to have family. Yeah, they wanted to spread their kids, spread their seeds, because of course they do. Predators and breeders. That's what they do. So that's what they did. The thing is that people started finding out about them because they started bragging about who they were. Instead of them saying, I found a wife, everything's beautiful, I love my wife, I have 2 kids, I brought her here to the United States, or I stayed there and we're living a beautiful life. Instead, they just wanted to dog out other women. They wanted to dog us out, say all these bad things. And they were starting to pick up steam. They were bragging about it. The catch is that they were using those women. They were sleeping with those women. They weren't trying to marry those women. They were impregnating those women. And because unbeknownst to them, they're thinking that these men are great men. But any woman knows that if you're a man and you decide you're going to dog out all other women, all other race of women, especially your black women, and you're going to dog them out, when you decide to do that, people are going to lose respect. Because they're like, wait a minute. You're dogging out the women who are your color. You're dogging them out. Now, mistakenly, a lot of these women started saying, oh, he wants me. But you want a man that has no integrity, no self-respect, and no respect for his own people. You want that guy. And they didn't realize that eventually he was going to use his nastiness on them. That he was not a good person. It wasn't just about black women. It was about who he is. And then they started figuring it out. The same way a lot of white women here in the U.S. started figuring out how black brothers can be. Not all black brothers, but a lot of black brothers. If they are dogging out verbally other women or being abusive and then run to this other race of women and say, I don't like black women, that tells you something about his integrity. It tells you something about what's inside of him. And what happens is eventually she finds out. You know how many white baby mamas there are with black men? You know how many white women I've talked to who realize, wow, yeah, black men, ooh. But it took them being abused and used to figure it out. Something that we already knew because we were in the community. We dealt with them, right? So we can start right there with incels, red pills, all the brothers doing those kind of things, right? Then let's just talk about the bitter brothers, right? The ones that maybe didn't get the girl, maybe wasn't picked in high school, or, maybe he did have some feelings and got his feelings hurt. Or maybe he wasn't a victim, but he felt he was a victim and felt like he should have gotten what he wanted and she didn't give it to him. It's so many reasons why these brothers are hurt. The problem is that they don't do the work to try to make themselves better people. They don't say, you know what? I'm so tired of this negativity. I'm so tired of all this argument in our community. Somebody has, I'm saying that I'm one of those men who provide and protect. I'm supposed to be a leader, but then let me find out what leadership is first. Let me see what's the definition of leadership. What's the example of leadership? And then let me see how I can be a better person. Let me look within and change how I think, because ain't one person gonna follow me if I'm not a good leader. They don't think like that. They just don't. The logic is, they talk about us being emotional and how we think. I'm talking logic here. Okay, there's a problem here. I'm supposed to be a leader. So let me see how I can better lead to convince people that I'm a good person and that they can rely on me. They want you to accept all their flaws, all their abuse, all their cheating, lying, deception, and say, you better listen to me because I'm the man. It's so warped. It's so mentally warped. And then they get mad and they enjoy. If a man enjoys beating another man, he ain't gonna have no problems watching a dog die. He ain't gonna have a problem watching a woman die. Anything weaker than him, you would think that if this thing or this person is weaker than me, then it's my responsibility to protect it. They don't think like that. Most of them don't think like that. Now, I'm going to tell you this. I have men in my life that I know. They're not like that. The men that I know, I have a friend named Keith. He's so wonderful. He's a great person. He can be a little overbearing, because he does have a lot of that, I protect, but he does, right? It's just a little too much. Maybe for me, maybe for another woman, it would be great. I have other friends that are kind and loving and thoughtful, reflective. They're not simps. They far from punks, but they just respect women. And I only have a handful of them, 4 that I know. And they're my friends because I can't see myself dating them one just because men are men. And even though they might be kind and wonderful, there's a whole other aspect of relationships I don't even want to deal with. So, but I know them. They're there. Will they protect me? If I'm with them, they will, right? If they're with me, they will. They're not going to just say, yeah, man, beat her up. They're going to protect me. But for the most part, all my life before I even met these brothers, I didn't have protection at all. It's not something that's in black men. They got beat down and beat up through all this racial discrimination, through all these other things that has happened to systemic racism, and they can't seem to pull out of that. They can't seem to just say, I'm going to fight through this. They just sort of sit in the midst of it. And they just sit there angry that we were able to move forward in our lives and to take mud and make and actually grow flowers from the mud. And they, for some reason, don't want to do it. There's some good guys out there. I can't deny that. I actually really want to deny it because they all make me sick sometimes. But there are good men out there. But you got so many of these roaches that it's hard. It's just hard to be optimistic. I gave up hope. Sorry, guys. I gave up hope a long time ago not a long time ago, a few years ago, about relationships, dealing with men, feeling protected, feeling safe. It seems like they want to control you. They act like you don't know what you're doing. They try to act like you're stupid. We're some of the most intelligent people in the world. Just because we don't have the masculine strength doesn't make us equal to or above intelligence with these men. And they don't like it. They're destructive. Look at the world. Look at the wars. Look at Trump. These are all examples of men with high testosterone, insecurities, and bad decisions. We're screwed up. We as women can run this country so much better. It's so sad.